A gorgeous resort it is, but a true Six Senses it is not. Hi there, my name is Kevin and I make honest, unsponsored, and to the point narrated video tours about resorts and flights all over the world. This is video number 101 and today we are at the breathtakingly beautiful Six Senses Uluwatu in southern Bali. Please stick around for this beautiful resort tour. Welcome to quote-unquote, I know a shortcut, brought to you by my 5-star Grab driver. I'm on my way to a less well-known and more rugged side of Bali, Uluwatu, where we'll find the 103-room Six Senses. If you'd like to know more about the rate that I paid for my stay, as well as the next 5 videos that are in queue, please check out the description below. Before we get started, let me just clear up 3 little things. First of all, that treacherous road that I was on in the video's opening is only because I was driving to Uluwatu from Nusa Dua. If you're coming from the airport, don't worry, you don't need any shortcuts. The second thing, please don't take me saying this isn't a true Six Senses the wrong way. It is an incredible property in a fabulous location, and it's a resort that I'd go back to for the right price without a flutter of hesitation. It's simply not the full Six Senses package that I've come to know. If you've stayed at or know about any Six Senses properties in Thailand, Vietnam, the Maldives, Seychelles, so on and so forth, I think you'll not only see what I mean, but agree with me. And the last thing to clear up is, no, I haven't been creating content on YouTube for 12 years. I'm actually pretty new to the game and would really appreciate you giving this video a thumbs up and clicking on that subscribe button. It's free for you and tells the YouTube lords that I'm producing quality content, which really does help out the channel. If free things frighten you, then of course you're also welcome to check out my Patreon linked in the description below. In advance, a very genuine thank you for all that you do, and know that I'm always open to suggestions or comments that you may have to make my content better. The long driveway leads us to the very open air, more of a wind tunnel actually, reception pavilion, which is perched over 100 meters above the deep blue Indian Ocean before us. Upon arrival, staff will offer you a trio of goodies including jamu, Indonesia's delicious turmeric and ginger tonic, a few cookies, and a few granola bars which, if I'm honest, look kinda like kopi luwak when you unroll them. Alright, let's explore what the monkey is pointing to and see exactly where we are. Covering the far southern tip of the island, Uluwatu, named for its awe-inspiring temple, is off the beaten path for most tourists. Depending on traffic, it's a 40 to 50 minute drive south of the airport. As we zoom in, I can assure you, with first-hand knowledge, the resort is not melting off the side of the cliff, but we can see how spectacular the setting is. I want to show you around the property, which is best done by supersonic golf buggy, so if you're prone to motion sickness, perhaps it's time for a little snack. The resort boasts 75 detached villas, each with their own private pool, which make up the vast majority of the layout with 5 terraced rows of them. At the top of the property, you'll find the additional 28 sky suites as they're called. These are the more traditional style rooms that are attached and in a 4-story building adjacent to the reception pavilion. 12 of the 28 sky suites also have their own private pools. Besides its ideal location, we can start to see that the landscaping is certainly another of the resort's strong points. It's more of a minimalist aesthetic compared to some of the super lush properties in Bali, but the gray and black stone tones with the greens and pops of pink and purple bougainvillea really do make for a luxe feeling backdrop for your holiday to Bali. I thought I was being pretty clever when I said, "Oh, this feels like San Francisco," to which my driver replied, "Yeah, everyone says that." Eventually, we make our way down to what is referred to as the ocean lobby. More on that later. For now, all things water. There's the beautiful cascade of tiered pools, the lower two of which are meant for swimming. Considering 85% of the 103 rooms on site though have their own private pool, I doubt that even on the busiest of days, these pools would be that crowded. And these views are just, come on, they're spectacular. When looking straight out, the next thing that would come into view would be Western Australia, at around 900 miles due south. It's the cliff views that we're here for though. The architecture, designed by PTI Architects, a local firm in Indonesia, was meant to blend into the coastline itself, using natural colors used to allow the resort to integrate into the surrounding nature more and more as time passes. Also, hopefully like me, you're going to see plenty of sea turtles. Really, I mean loads of them popping up all over the place for a breath and then diving back down into that deep turquoise water. As this is a Six Senses, no tour would be complete without a look at the spa. Six Senses spas are meant to provide a wide range of holistic wellness, rejuvenation, and beauty treatments. So their corporate language says at least. The spa begins with a retail-filled reception area with an adjacent yoga pavilion. Deeper into the spa, we can wander around and find 10 treatment rooms. So here's one part that doesn't really feel all that Six Senses to me. All Six Senses resort spas that I've seen have been sprawling, natural settings that make you feel like you're getting massaged in the middle of the jungle. More so than at a beautiful spa, which is what it feels like here, a beautiful spa that could be anywhere else. There is of course a large fitness center as well, which overlooks the roundabout in front of the ocean lobby. Alright, time to check out the room that I had for my stay. I booked a Sky Suite and was upgraded to a Sky Pool Suite upon arrival, which was an IHG Platinum Elite perk. The rooms are very nicely appointed and laid out, with each and every area feeling just spacious enough without feeling like a big, empty, underutilized room. The interiors of the room are another area where it just kind of feels like Six Senses light. But actually, I personally prefer this style over the all wood, always, all day design aesthetic that many other Six Senses properties follow. The interiors here are smartly appointed, and considering the property is only 4 years old, in nice condition, except for a few bits of the ceiling in the bathroom. The palette is fresh but calming, and I love the mix of textured materials throughout the room, such as the natural weave carpet, the woven table lamps, bronze reading lights, and natural wood trim. On arrival, there was a nicely stocked fruit bowl with an always appreciated handwritten note, again mentioning the elite status. The beds are certainly true Six Senses though, and as comfortable as ever, with really nice quality linens to match. On either side of the bed, there are outlets and USB ports, along with a table lamp and a cleverly designed reading light. There are also a series of picture-labeled light switches, which I ended up not really being a fan of because, number one, the pictures are really tiny, and this was also the only place where I could find to be able to turn the Do Not Disturb sign on and off. Behind the bed is the long and well outfitted desk, which I can always count on Six Senses properties having for me. Behind, a minibar with an empty refrigerator and a supply of glass bottled purified water, TWG teas, and Tanamera coffee pods. The bathroom was large, but it did feel a bit more smart urban business hotel than it did Balinese luxury resort. Between the bathroom and the entry, we have a very spacious walk-through closet, outfitted with the signature SIX Senses yoga mat and colorful robes for use. The interior portion of the bathroom is rounded out with a fancy total washlet and a nicely sized walk-in shower. Moving outside, we have the bathtub, complete with bath salts and candles to set the mood should you feel inclined. And then, perhaps the best part of the villa, the private pool and lounge area, where I spent a good chunk of my time. There's also a table and chairs out here, which is probably the only bit in the room where I feel like they cheaped out on. Alright, dinner time is approaching quickly, and you'll want to get down there early to snag a table at the Cliff Bar to watch the incredible sunsets, just like I did not do. To get down there, we're going to take a stroll down what they refer to as the boulevard, which is the main pedestrian artery that leads from the bottom of the reception area down to the ocean lobby. If you've gotten this far already, you probably know a bit about SIX Senses already, but for those that don't, they're an ultra-luxury chain of hotels, resorts, and spas that was purchased by IHG, the parent company of Intercontinental Hotels, some years back, and they have been on a building spree ever since. They currently have around 20 properties open, with a further 34 in the pipeline. The brand prides itself on, as they put it, a leadership commitment to community, sustainability, emotional hospitality, wellness, and design, infused with a touch of quirkiness. Maybe that's what's missing here. And I'm just realizing this as I'm writing the script. Nothing here crosses that line or even approaches the line into the over-the-top, all-natural kitsch realm. Next to the main pools, you have the outdoor cinema, which plays movies nightly after sunset. I do give the designers credit for the layout down here. You go from breakfast in the restaurant, to the pool, to the Cliff Bar, to the cinema, back to the restaurant, perhaps with a look in the boutique or spa along the way. It really is a nicely designed cliff-front common area. For dinner tonight, we're heading to Rocka, which is the only restaurant that was open during my visit. The setting outside is spectacular, with views of the sun setting, and the menu was very promising, but the food was just a tad of a letdown. Guests are greeted with another dose of jamu. I was a bit under the weather on my visit, so I had quite a few of those, followed up by a house-made young ginger ale. Rice and shrimp crackers were brought out to be enjoyed with sambal and peanut sauce, both of which were really good. For a starter, I went with the chicken satay, always a crowd pleaser, followed by the baked duck. Both dishes were tasty, but nothing really more. The duck particularly was tough, and both dishes just felt like they were scaled back a bit to appeal to a wider audience. As great as the menu looks, perhaps it's just a bit too much while occupancy is still low. As we're facing practically due south, the sun came up over our shoulder and I made my way back down to the ocean lobby again. So the ocean lobby, I guess we could just call it an activity center, but if I'm honest, it's just a beautiful buggy pickup and drop-off point, and seems not to be that much of a use for something else. While waiting for Rocka to open for breakfast, I had a stroll around and found one of the areas that presumably would be a setup for some pretty posh sunset weddings and events. Also, another look at the Cliff Bar when it's not packed with guests. Alright, breakfast time. Rocka's interior I love. I think it has a very Brazilian aesthetic, which I'm always a fan of. The buffet was okay. Again, I think the problem here is they're not at an occupancy level that warrants a huge spread, and so what's on offer is just a bit of a disappointment. When I was there, I wasn't offered any menu for a supplemental main dish, so I just ordered a very basic omelet, which was more difficult to get across than I was expecting. 10 minutes later, I was served an egg white omelet. I just took it. As I left though, I saw other guests given supplemental menus though, so I do wish that I had specifically asked for it. But in reality, it should have been offered. And I think that's how we can sum up the service style here as well. Typically, SIX Senses properties are very high touch with your gem, or guest experience maker, at your beck and call at all times of the day to coordinate anything and everything that you could possibly need. Here, my gem drove me to my room when I first arrived and delivered ice to me that night. Never saw or spoke to him otherwise. Not that I needed it, but it's just not the level of service and care that I was expecting from a SIX Senses. And last up, we have what could be better: gardens, goats, and chickens, which absolutely felt like an afterthought that the designers tacked on when someone told them that SIX Senses requires them to have all this stuff. Alright, so what are we thinking? I'm gonna stress again, I loved it here. It's a fantastic resort. There's a long list of luxury hotel brands that I could imagine this resort fitting right into easily. SIX Senses I just don't think was the right fit for the design of the resort. Unless of course this is the way that SIX Senses is going with designs from now on, in which case, fair enough. And now onto the flip-flop score. Feel free to pause to take a closer look at the details. I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you for liking it or subscribing to the channel. I'll see you next time at one of my all-time favorite resorts, the Belmond Jimbaran Puri.